It was the year 2060. Four friends decide to go on an expedition, hoping to find something of great value, something which would add to their digs. They dig deep and find something very intriguing.
They look into all the books they could find, but all in vain. Suddenly, one of them comes across a picture of his great-grandfather sitting on a very interesting ride. Technology is so advanced that he decides to use the remains of his great-grandfather and summon him from the ashes using the phone booth. His great-grandfather appears on the screen and goes on to recite a poem which enriches his ideas on a part of the long-lost heritage of Bengal. The rickshaw used to rule the streets, an icon in its prime, a relic of the ancient Indian treats, a symbol of the good old times. The only mode of transportation one could ever find that's simple yet beyond comparison, cost and comfort combined. The people of our very own City of Joy have the pleasure of many a merry ride. It's modelled into replicas and even into toys, driven on wheels of grandeur and pride. Whenever we talk of culture and heritage, the rickshaw always comes to our minds, its royal manner and undying vintage, a jewel that's truly one of its kind. A young man finally thought he had the love of his life. But as the days passed, his girlfriend drained him of all his wealth, leaving him homeless, jobless, and penniless. He wandered the streets alone until one day he found a broken Tana rickshaw. He had business on his mind, but started living on the rickshaw for the time being. It was his home. A few years later, an art gallery was inspired by his life on the streets, with only the rickshaw as his home, and therefore decided to have an exhibition. He became so famous that he was all over the news. The exhibition was a grand event, and he exceptionally addressed the huge crowd which had gathered in his honor. He was but interested in only one particular girl. She, however, failed to recognize him. The long years of hardship had changed him completely. He asked her out, and she was overjoyed. He then showed her all that he'd achieved after she'd left him and slowly revealed himself. This time, he dumped her for good. This is the story of a lower middle class, newly married couple. It had been a year and they were expecting their first child. On the expected day, a complete strike had been called. Every other vehicle was off the streets. The would-be parents were worried, as the wife had already started to feel her labor pain. She howled and shrieked. Just then, a rickshaw puller was seen to be standing outside their window, ringing its bell. Although the couple were unlikely to board a Tana rickshaw pulled by someone all wrapped up in a shawl, they had no choice this time. They reached the nearest hospital and she was rushed inside. She soon became the mother of a beautiful child. On being discharged the next day, she noticed the rickshaw at the gate, right where they'd left it the day before. She took a closer look and caught sight of a shawl. She looked at it for a while and recognized it thereafter. A divine miracle had saved her in her hour of need, in the form of an apparition of her late grandfather.